Hello everyone, this is Shadow. Due to copyright restrictions on YouTube, I can't publish many of the audiobooks you love. That's why I've created a special paid service where you can enjoy over 300 high-quality audiobooks from platforms like Webnovel, Pocket FM, Audible, Wuxia, and more. Each novel comes as a one-time purchase, no subscriptions, no hidden fees. After payment, you'll receive full access via Telegram, along with all future updates for that novel. You'll find a wide selection of your favorite genres and titles, always in premium audio quality. Check the full list of available novels in the description. DM me now to get your favorite stories in audiobook form and start listening today. Chapter 911, The Seventh Realm of Space and Time. The Emperor of Demonic Beings is very special. His level of power far surpasses that of the top Jade Immortals. After all, the demonic creatures are but a condensation of a wisp of demonic chi from the ancestor of the demon abyss. And the Emperor of Demonic Beings is the ultimate form born from the endless sea of demonic creatures. It's not an exaggeration to say that he is an incarnation of the ancestor of the demon abyss. Therefore, in the numerous wars between immortals and demons, what the immortals of the immortal realm dread the most is the Emperor of Demonic Beings. As for the ordinary demonic creatures, even in endless numbers, they could not possibly breach the defense formations of the great immortal cities. As long as they endure until the passage to the demon abyss dissipates, that will be enough. Having experienced several wars between immortals and demons, Yun Jinzi is well aware of the terror of the Emperor of Demonic Beings. Even with the help of an immortal city, a massive war immortal artifact, at best one can only inflict severe injuries, with virtually no hope of achieving a kill. However, now, in the eyes of Yun Jinzi, the power of an entire immortal city can barely rival the Emperor of Demonic Beings, yet he is now struggling desperately between the fingers of Lin Yuan. Master! Yun Jinzi's mind seems to be in a muddle. When he first entered the spirit world of Lin Yuan, he witnessed that towering figure symbolizing unparalleled spiritual will, leaving Yun Jinzi almost believing that Lin Yuan might be the ancestor of the immortal path, the supreme being. But Yun Jinzi soon abandoned this thought, as there are significant differences between the ancestor of the immortal path and Lin Yuan. The ancestor of the immortal path resides high in the origin of the immortal realm, looking down upon all immortals, obviously not the case for Lin Yuan. Over the years, Lin Yuan has displayed horrific alchemy skills and means beyond what even top Jade Immortals could match, but there's still a large gap between him and the ancestor of the immortal path. But now, Yun Jinzi is once again plunged into confusion, single-handedly capturing a sky full of demonic creatures, among which there are 6 emperors of demonic beings, who other than the ancestor of the immortal path could perform such a feat. Jade Immortals? No matter how many Jade Immortals there are, as long as they dare to leave the immortal city and lose its protection, they are nothing but delectable food in the eyes of the Emperor of Demonic Beings. Since the emergence of the demon abyss, there has never been a case where a Jade Immortal, relying solely on their own power, has managed to briefly contend with the Emperor of Demonic Beings. If they cannot even contend, let alone suppress, and here it's suppressing 6 at once. Emperor of Demonic Beings? Lin Yuan looks at his right palm, his gaze falling on those 6 emperors of demonic beings. About to step into the 7th realm of space-time, almost reaching the threshold of this level, only to be interrupted by these demonic beings, causing Lin Yuan's slight impatience. Therefore, he took direct action. If saying when Lin Yuan first arrived in the immortal realm, he needed to keep a low profile, endure when possible, to avoid attracting the attention of the ancestor of the immortal path or the ancestor of the demon abyss prematurely, then now, with the breakthrough to the 7th realm of spacetime imminent, there is no longer any need to deliberately endure. Even now, Lin Yuan already possesses some of the characteristics of the 7th realm of spacetime. For example, suppressing the 6 emperors of demonic beings with a single palm. Such suppression is not about absolute power. Currently, Lin Yuan's Taiyang divine spirit, aside from the spiritual will, is not necessarily stronger in other aspects than an individual emperor of demonic beings. In terms of the physical body, The vast majority of resources obtained in the immortal realm are sent as much as possible to the true body, the origin. The strength of the Taiyang divine spirit's physical body is approximately at the level of a regular emperor of demonic beings. The endless demonic creatures and the 6 emperors of demonic beings struggle in vain in the palm of Lin Yuan's hand, the root cause being the suppression of the space-time domain. Lin Yuan suppresses all the demonic beings firmly with the space-time rule domain. With Lin Yuan's current understanding of space-time, even if he truly faces the ancestor of the immortal path or the ancestor of the demon abyss, he would still manage with ease. The key point is that, at this moment, the one acting is merely the Taiyang divine spirit, which can be completely discarded when necessary. The true body, the origin, resides in hidden, unknown places, isolated by the cause and effect of space-time, and even the ultimate beings of the 12th layer, such as the ancestor of the immortal path, would take a tremendous amount of time to locate and lock onto it. So, at this moment, Lin Yuan, in this immortal realm, essentially has nothing left to be cautious or wary of, and once he fully steps into the 7th realm of space-time, he will be truly unhindered and fearless. These emperors of demonic beings. Lin Yuan examines the 6 emperors of demonic beings caught between his fingers, and even though he's suppressing these demonic creatures at a rule level, Lin Yuan does not underestimate them, for after all, these emperors of demonic beings essentially arose from the ancestor of the demon abyss and are part of this ultimate being of the 12th layer. This feeling. Lin Yuan frowns, observing the ordinary demonic creatures is still manageable, but these emperors of demonic beings show an aspect utterly opposite to those practicing the immortal cultivation system, like the contrast between white and black, life and death. Where is this? What place is this? To Lin Yuan's scrutiny, the 6 emperors of demonic beings have no self-awareness, but suddenly finding themselves in a different world, each becomes extremely panicked. They were born in the demon abyss, and apart from the omnipresent ancestor of the demon abyss, they have never experienced such fear. Why can't I feel the demon abyss anymore? Right, I can't feel it either. One by one, the emperors of demonic beings' scalps explode, for to these demonic creatures, the demon abyss is far more than just their lair. It bears the effect of something akin to a source-origin connection. Any emperor of demonic beings can always sense the presence of the demon abyss and can instantly return to the demon abyss if they wish. But now, the vast, nearly equal to the immortal realm demon abyss, has disappeared into thin air. To be precise, it's not that the demon abyss has disappeared, but they can no longer sense the existence of the demon abyss. They are of no use to me at the moment. After observing for a moment, Lin Yuan lightly shakes his head and exhales softly. Chapter 9:12. In an instant, within the palm-sized universe, space-time collapsed, endless demonic creatures turned into dust before the boiling space-time, and the 6th emperor of demonic beings persisted for a few moments before also becoming nothing but ashes. All the demonic creatures were shattered by the power of space-time, then transformed into the most primordial demonic chi by the primal force. This most primordial demonic chi, which belongs to the ancestor of the demon abyss, was suppressed by Lin Yuan as part of his research on the ancestor of the demon abyss lying dormant in the depths of the demon abyss. Just after the foremost emperor of demonic beings among the 6 utterly perished, billions of miles away from Kangwu Immortal City, the remaining demonic chi converged, once again forming a silhouette. However, compared to the majestic stature of a normal emperor of demonic beings, this silhouette had shrunk significantly, and its aura was weak, having fallen to the level of an ordinary jade immortal. I survived. The emperor of demonic beings was ecstatic. Most emperors of demonic beings were invincible in their own right, with no need to prepare any means of survival. However, this emperor of demonic beings was naturally cautious, and even when attacking the nearly invincible Kangwu Immortal City, it had left a will hidden elsewhere in advance. Sure enough, this now came into great use. With the physical body perished, the will resurrected, it was like having come back to life. Demon Abyss. Without hesitation, the Emperor of Demonic Beings called upon the Demon Abyss, seeking to escape into its depths. From beginning to end, it never knew why its true self died, nor who had killed it. But that did not stop the fear of the Emperor of Demonic Beings. If it did not escape now, there would be truly no chance to flee. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The vast phantom of the demon abyss descended, like a colossal mouth that sought to swallow the Emperor of Demonic Beings in one gulp. But the next moment, a gigantic hand composed entirely of spacetime stretched out. It forcibly snatched the Emperor of the Demon Abyss right from under that colossal maw. The Demon Abyss power lingered for a while, but eventually dissipated swiftly. Still trying to run? Lin Yuan looked at the ant-like creature within his palm and casually crushed it, suppressing the primordial demonic chi once more. No response from the ancestor of the immortal path yet? Since taking action, most of Lin Yuan's attention had not been on the demonic beings but rather upon the origin of the immortal realm, watching for any movements from the ancestor of the immortal path. With a palm, Lin Yuan had captured the heavens full of demonic beings, showing a strength close to that of the 12th grade, which might alert the ancestor of the immortal path. In fact, this was also Lin Yuan's test for the ancestor of the immortal path, wanting to understand exactly what state the other party was in. Forget it. After waiting a moment and seeing that the origin of the immortal realm still showed no reaction, Lin Yuan simply turned and entered the cultivation area, planning to take that final step and step into the 7th realm of spacetime. Lin Yuan effortlessly resolved all the demonic beings, and even before the face of the demon abyss, he captured an Emperor of the Demon Abyss, then turned around to continue his seclusion. It seemed like a long time had passed, but in reality, it was only a few breaths worth of time. In Kangwu Immortal City, countless immortals were fleeing in panic, desperate one moment, and in the next, they found that the endless swarm of demonic beings that had shaken the entire immortal city to the brink had vanished. It wasn't the disappearance of one or a few, but all had vanished. If not for the collapsed structures and ground within the city, many immortals would probably think what they just experienced was an illusion. Where are the demonic beings? What happened? Not sure. Where are those demonic beings? Could it be that they retreated? Countless immortals were somewhat dumbfounded as they exchanged information rapidly, but overall, there was a collective sigh of relief. Compared to the many confused immortals, the numerous high-ranking leaders of Kangwu Immortal City were shocked. The demonic beings retreated? Absolutely impossible for them to retreat. That's right, 60% of the defensive formations of Kangwu Immortal City have collapsed. If they continued a bit longer, those 6 emperors of demonic beings could have breached the city. Retreat at this moment. Correct. The high-ranking officials of the Immortal City are far more informed than the other immortals, and they are well aware of the extent to which the defense formation of Kangwu Immortal City is on the brink of collapse. As much as they are reluctant to accept it, the many Jade Immortals can ascertain that the fate of Kangwu Immortal City will be consumption by endless demonic beings. These top-tier Jade Immortals will also be devoured by those Emperor of Demonic Beings. But at the last moment all the demonic beings disappeared. The high-ranking officials of the Immortal City are not fools. They are well aware of the nature of these demonic beings, and that they would not give up prey that is within their grasp. They haven't retreated. Could it be that they were dealt with? Dealt with? Did Ancestral Master make his move? The Immortal City Lord's mind stirred. The 6th Emperor of Demonic Beings could tear open the Immortal City's defense formation when working in unison. Apart from the exalted Ancestral Master, he could not conceive of any other being capable of resolving the situation so effortlessly. My ancestor he. Among the many top-tier Jade Immortals, a young-looking Jade Immortal hesitated slightly, then shook his head and spoke. As a disciple of the Ancestral Master, he knew that the Ancestral Master would definitely not take action during this time, otherwise, he would not have allowed 3 immortal cities to be breached. It wasn't the Ancestral Master who acted? The City Lord of the Immortal City and other high-ranking figures fell into silence, mostly convinced. After all, if Ancestral Master had made a move, the divine presence of the immortal realm would enshroud the entire immortal realm. All demonic beings would retreat, and even the demon abyss would keep its distance. But now, besides Kangwu Immortal City, the other domains in the immortal realm are still ravaged by demonic beings. This does not align with the scenario where Ancestral Master would intervene. However, if it wasn't Ancestral Master who acted, then who would have intervened? Apart from Ancestral Master, who else in the immortal realm could possibly have the means to resolve 6 Emperor of demonic beings in an instant? The City Lord of Immortal City and other high-level officials could not understand. Have you noticed something amiss with the cave mansion area of our immortal city? While the many high-ranking officials of the immortal city were in deep contemplation, a Vice City Lord began to check the overall situation of the immortal city and immediately discovered the anomaly. Under the siege of infinite demonic beings and the 6th Emperor of demonic beings, the defense formation of Kangwoo Immortal City had collapsed a great deal, and its internal formations were likewise damaged extensively. Now, the entirety of Kangwoo Immortal City looks like a sieve full of holes, where one can see from one end to the other. The numerous lofty officials, who had partial control over the Immortal City's formation, were able to observe the entire Immortal City without any impediment, from beginning to end. After all, Kangwoo Immortal City is now akin to half a ruin, with most formations collapsed, making it difficult to conceal any secrets. Under such circumstances, the cave mansion area of the Immortal City, one particular Grade A cave mansion, remained intact in stark contrast with other Grade A mansions around it. If it were just like that, it would be let go. Maybe it was just the luck of this specific mansion that prevented it from being affected by the repercussions. But now this Deputy City Lord, using the remaining authority of the Immortal City's formation, was still unable to peek into that Grade A cave mansion. He immediately sensed that something was amiss. Moreover, during the demonic siege on the city, all immortals from the mansion area had mostly fled their domiciles. Apart from this Grade A mansion, the rest were all empty. Such anomalies naturally caught the attention of the many high-ranking officials of the Immortal City. This mansion. The City Lord of the Immortal City's expression shifted slightly. As a top-tier Jade Immortal, he also noted that in contrast to the panicked owners of other mansions, this Grade A mansion seemed incredibly composed, showing no sign of fleeing. It was as if they had already known that the demonic beings outside would be taken care of. This made the officials of the Immortal City cannot help but speculate. Might the owner of this Grade A mansion have some connection with the being who resolved the demonic beings outside the Immortal City? Is it Master Yun Jinzi's mansion? The Hall Master of Flying Immortal Hall was also somewhat incredulous. You know the owner of this mansion? The City Lord of the Immortal City's gaze immediately shifted over, and other high-ranking officials also turned their attention. The information on the owners of Grade A mansions within the Immortal City was accessible to many of the Jade Immortals present. But knowing the identity of the mansion's owner does not mean they are acquainted. Within the mansion, at this moment, Lin Yuan sat cross-legged with bursts of enlightenment flashing in his mind. Without the disturbances from those demonic beings outside, Lin Yuan continued to rapidly advance in his comprehension of space-time, approaching the final leap. Space-time, so this is space-time. Lin Yuan opened his eyes, a smile appearing on his face. Chapter 913, The Confusion of the Ancestor of the Demon Abyss. Lin Yuan stepped into the 7th realm of time-space without any obstacles. When a great amount of spiritual enlightenment converged, Lin Yuan realized the essence of the 7th realm of time-space. Lin Yuan's accumulation was too profound, coupled with the Immortal Realm's special cultivation environment and the scenes from the origin of the Immortal Realm condensed by the Source of Immortality, among others. The result of many layers of foundation overlapping. Of course, among all the foundations, the most crucial was Lin Yuan's Against Heaven's understanding. Without Against Heaven's understanding to integrate everything, even if the conditions mentioned above were strengthened tenfold, it would be meaningless. Within the Immortal Realm, which of the direct disciples of the ancestor of the immortal path did not have a cultivation environment and resources superior to Lin Yuan's? Some could even directly enter the origin of the immortal realm to cultivate. But so far, none of the ancestral master's disciples have stepped into the 7th realm in their comprehension of time-space. Not to mention the disciples of the ancestral master, even the ancestral master himself has never touched the 7th realm regarding time-space understanding. So that's how it is. Lin Yuan came to a realization, and after reaching the seventh realm of time-space comprehension, the time-space he felt seemed to come alive. It was not that time-space had come alive, but rather that time-space was always alive, constantly changing. Lin Yuan was previously unable to feel or observe it. Time-space, this is time-space. Lin Yuan's gaze was distant, and the time-space of the entire immortal realm became completely visible to him, and even the time-space of the demon abyss beyond the immortal realm became apparent in his eyes. It turns out that the immortal realm and the demon abyss are the same world, but because the fundamental rules are different, obvious distinctions arise. Lin Yuan suddenly understood. Previously, he thought that the demon abyss was just a layer within the space of the immortal realm, but in fact, the demon abyss belongs to the main space of the immortal realm, and to the demon abyss, the immortal realm might not even hold a dominant position. A subordinate world of the immortal realm? Lin Yuan's gaze shifted, following the vast and endless power of time-space. He looked beyond the immortal realm. The realm of the immortal realm is supremely lofty, at the pinnacle of this dimension. However, below the immortal realm, there are 3,333 worlds rising and falling. Among these 3,333 worlds, the spirit realm where Lin Yuan once descended was unmistakably among them. And below these 3,333 worlds, each world is connected to over 1 million lower-level worlds, including the world of the central divine China. 3,333? This number again. Lin Yuan pondered for a moment, then withdrew his gaze. With his current mastery over time-space, if he wished, he could descend to any world within this dimension. But it's meaningless. Lower-level worlds would probably struggle even to accommodate Lin Yuan, like how the world of central divine China previously would have been smaller than the world within Lin Yuan's body. What good would descending there do? My current strength. Lin Yuan began to review his own strength. According to the information left by Shen Huang and the Moyu Tower Master, normally only a 12th-layer sovereign could reach the 7th realm of time-space. A few of the very top path-splitting 12th layers also have a chance to touch it. That is to say, with only his comprehension of time-space, Lin Yuan is now superior to the vast majority of 12th-layer path-splitting beings. With time-space comprehension in direct combat, Lin Yuan is not a match for the ultimate 12th layers, but he can completely use his comprehension of time-space to play with those ultimate 12th layers. Just like with the Shen Huang secret realm, which obviously opens once every tens of thousands of years deep within the main universe's time-space, yet all the ultimate 12th layers can't lock onto its coordinates. This is suppression from the rule level. This is the 7th realm of time-space. Lin Yuan thought rapidly to himself. For nearly all life forms, the difficulty of realizing the 7th realm of time-space is greater than achieving the ultimate form. After all, most of the 12th-layer path-splitting realm powerhouses have not reached the 7th realm in their time-space comprehension. Lin Yuan's thoughts stirred, and after his comprehension of time-space entered the 7th realm, with but a thought, his true body and primordial spirit, as well as his many avatars, all merged into the depths of time-space. Even the ultimate 12th layers couldn't detect the slightest trace unless Lin Yuan chose to reveal himself. Simply put, the current Lin Yuan is like a high-dimensional observer. Even the ultimate 12th layers are unable to perceive him if their rule comprehension hasn't reached a certain height. Time-space can be used in this way too? Lin Yuan continued to sense the changes within himself. After reaching the 7th realm of time-space comprehension, the vast time-space before Lin Yuan's eyes seemed to change its appearance, and many previously incomprehensible mysteries of time-space were now all deciphered effortlessly. While Lin Yuan continued to meditate and familiarize himself with the 7th realm of time-space. Outside the cave dwelling, the immortal city's lord and numerous high-ranking powerhouses gathered. They looked nervous and slightly uneasy, sensing that Lin Yuan's dwelling was out of sync with the surrounding environment, and speculating that Lin Yuan might be related to the one who took action against those demonic beings outside the city. After short communications, the Immortal City's lord and the high-ranking powerhouses left Kangwu Immortal City, which had nearly become ruins, to visit Lin Yuan at the first opportunity. They had no choice. If Lin Yuan really was related to that powerful being who had acted, their first task wasn't to restore Kangwu Immortal City, but to understand the thoughts of that powerful existence. as well as to see if there were any demands. After all, the intervention couldn't have been without reason. Without understanding these, the Immortal City's lord and the high-ranking powerhouses wouldn't be able to sleep peacefully, let alone stabilize the situation in Kangwoo Immortal City. City Lord Yoon Jinzi, acting as the housekeeper of the dwelling, immediately opened the gate and came out. If this were before, facing the joint arrival of the Immortal City's lord and other high-ranking powerhouses, Yoon Jinzi would be somewhat nervous, given that these were figures she could not even look up to a myriad of years ago. Even among Jade Immortals, the gap would be even greater, and the former Yoon Jinzi, while strong among ordinary Jade Immortals, was far inferior to the top Jade Immortals. And now, the current visitors are not just ordinary Jade Immortals, their backgrounds are incomparable to Yoon Jinzi's. But now, recalling Lin Yuan's effortless grasp of the myriad demonic beings just a moment ago, Yoon Jinzi stood up straight, with dignity and assertiveness, and said, "Gentlemen, what brings you here? Is the master present inside?" The Immortal City's lord and other Jade Immortals exchanged looks. The city lord spoke up proactively. "The master is in seclusion," Yoon Jinzi replied succinctly. This was also instructed by Lin Yuan before he began his cultivation retreat, that anyone who wanted to visit him should be rejected under this pretext, unless something truly critical had occurred that affected the entirety of the Immortal City. In retreat, the Lord of the Immortal City paused slightly, surprised. The other giants behind him also felt a shiver in their hearts. In retreat, at a time like this, Kangwoo Immortal City had just survived a near-catastrophic crisis, and all immortals, including many top Jade Immortals like the city lord himself, could have been devoured by countless demonic creatures. At this moment, for the many immortals it was like escaping from the jaws of death. How could they possibly be in the mood for cultivation retreats? Furthermore, the current situation outside the city was still unclear. If subsequent attacks by demonic creatures occurred, Kangwoo Immortal City might be in danger again, making it even less likely for any immortals to enter retreat. Yet Lin Yuan was in retreat. The response from Yoon Jinzi made the city lord and other high-level leaders reflect on many things. Before they arrived, they had merely speculated that the owner of this A-grade cave dwelling might be related to the mysterious entity that dealt with the demonic creatures outside the city. The likelihood was about 40 to 50%. But now, this probability had increased to 70 to 80%. Because entering retreat at this moment was simply too unreasonable, unless one did not place these demonic creatures in his eyes at all. And that matched the actions of the mysterious entity that intervened. "May I inquire if your master is aware of who took action against those demonic creatures outside the city just now?" The Lord of the Immortal City took a deep breath, carefully phrased his words, and asked cautiously, "Who took action against the demonic creatures?" Yoon Jinzi hesitated somewhat. Of course, he knew who had acted. It was Lin Yuan, who with a mere flip of his hand, had captured the boundless demonic creatures. But Lin Yuan did not allow him to speak of this matter. Nor did he forbid him from doing so. That's why Yoon Jinzi was hesitant. "I will go and ask my master." After much deliberation, Yoon Jinzi still decided to confirm with Lin Yuan. "Go and ask the master." The hearts of the city lord and other high-level leaders trembled once again. Yoon Jinzi did not answer with ignorance. But instead, he said he needed to ask the master. What did this imply? It meant that not only might the owner of the dwelling be aware, but even the servant before them likely knew who the mysterious entity that had acted was. It was merely a matter of asking the master to see if it could be disclosed to outsiders. "Very well, go and ask. We will wait here." The Lord of the Immortal City immediately forced a smile, and the other high-level leaders did the same. At this moment, they harbored an even more terrifying conjecture. Maybe the owner of this dwelling was not only related to that mysterious powerhouse, but perhaps he was the mysterious powerhouse himself? Another side of the immortal realm. This place is immensely dark and profound, filled with pitch-black demonic chi. Endless demonic creatures are born here, fighting and dying. This is the demon abyss, the birthplace of all demonic beings, and also the resting place of the ancestor of the demon abyss. Deep within the demon abyss, a colossal consciousness is slowly awakening. The demonic chi it randomly released condensed into numerous demonic creatures, which fought and devoured each other, eventually giving rise to several emperors of demonic beings. One of my children has died? Suddenly, this immense consciousness noticed something. A mass of demonic chi converged, forming a supreme throne upon which a figure appeared, sitting on the throne. He is the ancestor of the demon abyss. For the ancestor of the demon abyss, the life and death of ordinary demonic beings are of little concern, not to mention invading the immortal realm. Even within the demon abyss, countless ordinary demons perish every moment. But an emperor of demonic beings? Emperors of demonic beings could be considered the ancestor of the demon abyss's incarnations, also his children. In the demon abyss, the emperors are immortal. They are blessed and protected by the entire abyss. The collapse of an emperor of demonic beings would alert the slumbering ancestor of the demon abyss. Who exactly is it that killed my child? The ancestor of the demon abyss's gaze was pitch black as he began to trace the signs in the void, locking onto the final memories of the deceased emperors of demonic beings. Is it there? The eyes of the ancestor of the demon abyss flickered with the visions experienced by the 6 deceased emperors of demonic beings. Found it! The ancestor of the demon abyss faintly locked onto a location. However, just as the ancestor of the demon abyss was about to pinpoint the exact coordinates, he suddenly sensed the space-time turn nebulous, the coordinates he had locked onto abruptly splitting in two. Then for 8, it was as if it existed in all space-time, yet as if it existed in none at all. This, the ancestor of the demon abyss revealed a look of confusion. Chapter 9:14, The Conduit of Space-Time. For the ancestor of the demon abyss, be it the immortal realm or the demon abyss itself, there are basically no secrets. Once he locks onto a living being, no matter where they are, even if they are in the primordial lands of the immortal realm, they cannot escape. But now, the ancestor of the demon abyss wishes to lock onto Lin Yuan's exact position. Yet he finds it utterly impossible to determine the coordinates. This vexes and confounds the ancestor of the demon abyss. It's like having someone right in front of you. You can see them, but you can't touch them. The stronger and higher the life form, the more perplexed they are when faced with such a scene. What's going on? The expression of the ancestor of the demon abyss turns serious, and the consciousness that had only partially awakened is now continuing to stir. If at first he was merely curious as to why the emperor of demonic beings he regarded as children were dying and falling, intending to find the perpetrator to exact revenge before slipping back into slumber, that was all. But now, the ancestor of the demon abyss has become thoroughly intrigued. Causal connections. Countless threads of fate appeared before the ancestor of the demon abyss. As an ancestral master, the ancestor of the demon abyss naturally has a profound understanding of the laws of cause and effect. Although he had never met Lin Yuan in person, the latter had killed 6 emperor of demonic beings and countless demonic beings. The emperor of demonic beings and the demonic beings are part of the ancestor of the demon abyss, especially the emperor of demonic beings, akin to his progeny, with a close connection to his incarnation. Lin Yuan killing the emperor of demonic beings equates to establishing a direct causal link with the ancestor of the demon abyss. Utilizing this causal connection, the ancestor of the demon abyss could easily lock onto Lin Yuan's precise location. Whoosh! The ancestor of the demon abyss has a multitude of causal threads, connecting different places in the immortal realm and the demon abyss, some even extending beyond the immortal realm. The ancestor of the demon abyss immediately found the causal thread related to Lin Yuan and followed the trail. Still can't sense it? The ancestor of the demon abyss was astonished. The existence of the causal thread proves that the other party has not died. Yet alive and undying, they could not be located within the range through the causal thread. Following that, the ancestor of the demon abyss employed dozens of methods attempting to lock onto Lin Yuan's coordinates, all to no avail. Even though it was clear Lin Yuan was still alive and indeed within the immortal realm, within the Shentian immortal domain, The ancestor of the demon abyss still felt as if he was grasping at a flower in the mirror, a moon in the water. It's time and space, a deeper level of time and space. The ancestor of the demon abyss sat on his throne, his brow furrowed. After various probes, the ancestor of the demon abyss concluded, the being that killed the emperor of demonic beings exists in an extremely deep part of spacetime. Even he could not forcefully peer into and locate it. To venture into such depths of spacetime, one must possess a certain level of understanding of it, at least beyond mine. The ancestor of the demon abyss thought quietly. Being at the level of an ancestral master, who could have an understanding of spacetime that surpassed his? Could it be that a new ancestral master had been born in the immortal realm? But how could that be possible? The celestial phenomena triggered by stepping into the level of an ancestral master could not be concealed, and it was virtually impossible for any being in the immortal realm or the demon abyss to step into that level at present. It's not an ancestral master. The ancestor of the demon abyss was very certain in his heart. What exactly has happened during my slumber? The ancestor of the demon abyss wondered to himself. Although certain that the assailant was not an ancestral master, the inability to lock onto their position meant that they were untouchable. Return, all of you. The ancestor of the demon abyss couldn't pinpoint Lin Yuan, but since he had acted against the emperor of demonic beings, he presumably didn't have much affinity for the demonic beings of the demon abyss. Hence, the ancestor of the demon abyss immediately began summoning all of the relentless demonic beings and emperor of demonic beings that had invaded the immortal realm back. The so-called war between the immortals and demons was merely a game for the ancestor of the demon abyss. Even if those demonic beings and the emperor of demonic beings devoured many immortals, it would not be of much help to him, the ancestor of the demon abyss. Songhai Immortal City. For mighty emperor of demonic beings looked down coldly, as the vast immortal city below was on the brink of collapse under the onslaught of countless demonic beings. The immortal city's sovereign and many top-ranking Jade immortals fought desperately, to no avail. Before absolute power, all resistance and struggle were futile. Ha 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 ha. Delicious food. The four emperor of demonic beings gazed greedily at the immortal city below. Devouring immortals and devouring their own kind were completely different experiences, and the help it provided to themselves was different as well. Just then, return, all of you. A deep voice echoed in the minds of the four emperor of demonic beings. Father God? Father God is calling us back. The four emperor of demonic beings were shocked. They originated from the ancestor of the demon abyss, so they also considered the ancestor of the demon abyss as Father God. Let's go back. Father God wants us back. There must be something important. The four emperor of demonic beings reluctantly looked down at the immortal city below. They were just moments away from having that delicious food in their mouths. But none dared defy the command of the ancestor of the demon abyss. It was an instinct embedded deep within their consciousness. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. The four emperor of demonic beings willingly retreated, and the infinite demonic beings also quickly dissipated. In just a short moment, the demonic beings outside Songhai Immortal City all but vanished. What is going on? The sovereign of Songhai Immortal City thought he was sure to perish. Even if he had left measures to save his life elsewhere, if he were to die at the hands of the emperor of demonic beings, the terrible corruption at the level of the soul could render those measures useless. But now, all the emperor of demonic beings have retreated? We survived. Inside Songhai Immortal City, countless immortals wept with joy as they had never expected to live. Those ferocious demons had retreated on their own accords. Chapter 9:15. Qianxing Immortal City. It was still the scene of endless monstrous creatures sieging the city. The towering emperor of demonic beings had almost all opened their mouths, just waiting for the immortal city to be breached and to devour the countless immortals inside. But in the next moment, the emperor of demonic beings received the command from the ancestor of the demon abyss. They could only lead the infinite monstrous creatures to retreat and return to the demon abyss. Chuyu Immortal City, Xiaohao Immortal City, Heavenly Will Immortal City. In the 33 immortal domains, Endless monstrous creatures led by the Emperor of demonic beings besieged city after city. But at the same time, all the monstrous creatures withdrew, even when the besieged cities were just one step away from being broken through. No Emperor of demonic beings dared to cross the boundary. What's going on? Why have all those monstrous creatures left? No matter why they left, at least we don't have to die. Yes, being eaten by monstrous creatures is said to be incredibly painful, and one's memory would be tainted. After the initial shock and confusion, the many immortals were extremely exhilarated. Who would choose to die if they could live? Especially facing such a brutal death at the maw of monstrous creatures. Why did the monstrous creatures retreat? Was it the ancestral master? Did the ancestral master take action? Our master should not have made a move. If it wasn't the ancestral master who acted, then who did? The lords of immortal cities and other high-ranking titans, while relieved, also began to speculate on the reason for the monster's withdrawal. The most likely speculation was that the ancestral master had made a move, but even the disciples of the ancestral master didn't know the ins and outs of this matter. Logically speaking, if the ancestral master had really acted, these disciples of the ancestral master would definitely have heard some rumors. Kangwu Immortal City. In front of the Grade A cave dwelling, the Lord of the Immortal City and many other high-ranking titans were respectfully waiting. Suddenly, the information that the endless monstrous creatures ravaging the 33 immortal domains had withdrawn reached the hands of the top Jade Immortals. The 33 immortal domains are vast and boundless. Even for mighty Jade Immortals continuously shifting through the void, it would probably take hundreds of thousands to millions of years to traverse all the domains. But the transmission of messages is much simpler than direct walking. Through the links between causality rules, strong beings like Golden Immortals and Jade Immortals can achieve instant communication. All the monstrous creatures have withdrawn? They withdrew on their own? Without any other powers intervening? Why have all the monstrous creatures voluntarily withdrawn? The Lord of the Immortal City and many other high-ranking titans were puzzled. The duration of each war between immortals and demons is counted in thousands to tens of thousands of years. Nowadays, only decades have passed, and it's still too early for the war to end. Moreover, in past wars between immortals and demons, even when really entering the late stage and about to end, the monstrous creatures would withdraw one by one from the immortal realm back to the demon abyss. But like now, almost at the same time, countless monstrous creatures, including the Emperor of demonic beings, uniformly withdrew from the immortal realm. It's like they received some command. And who has the authority to command the Emperor of demonic beings? The Lord of Kangwu Immortal City and other high-level giants shuddered in their hearts. One name emerged unanimously in their minds. Ancestor of the Demon Abyss. Besides the Ancestor of the Demon Abyss, who could command the Emperor of demonic beings? And such a large-scale command at that. But why would the Ancestor of the Demon Abyss do this? The Lord of the Immortal City and many high-ranking titans exchanged glances. Although there was no concrete evidence to prove it, they instinctively felt that it was related to Lin Yuan's earlier action. Because the timing of the Emperor of demonic beings' retreat was too coincidental. They did not retreat early or late. They all withdrew just after Lin Yuan took action. This compelled the top-tier Jade Immortals present to entertain such associations. Ancestor of the Demon Abyss. The heart of the Immortal City Master was engulfed by towering waves. If their conjecture was true, it meant that the being they sought an audience with possessed the capacity to make even the Ancestor of the Demon Abyss yield. Although an infinite number of demonic beings retreating from the immortal realm was not the same as the Ancestor itself yielding. But at the very least, it indicated that the Ancestor of the Demon Abyss was apprehensive. Within the cave abode, the cultivation area, Lin Yuan was observing everything visible to him from the perspective of the seventh realm of spacetime. Having reached an understanding of the seventh realm of spacetime, Lin Yuan saw the essence of spacetime unravel its mysteries across all he surveyed, comprising the spacetime of immortal realm, the spacetime of the demon abyss, even the spacetime of this particular dimension. The endless turning of spacetime is what forms a stable world where life can flourish. Even the most mundane rock, flower, or tree is subject to the influence of spacetime. Should spacetime collapse, these entities too would vanish. The workings of spacetime, the multitude of coexisting rules, are what shape everything stable. Witnessing this, a profound emotion surfaces in Lin Yuan's heart. Wonderful. Truly, incredibly wonderful. At this moment, Lin Yuan held no more confusion. The space-time anomalies that were once beyond his understanding were now thoroughly grasped. It was as though within the domain of space-time, Lin Yuan possessed omniscience. No, that's not right. Lin Yuan quickly regained his composure. His so-called omniscience was merely an illusion, a misconception born from the influx of information due to a significant leap in understanding. In actuality, upon careful consideration, Lin Yuan realized that he was still beset with countless doubts, such as the deeper elucidations on the seventh realm of spacetime within the secret skill Milky Way, and the descriptions of the eighth realm, all of which posed complex challenges to Lin Yuan. I'll take it slowly. Lin Yuan quickly calmed himself. Those dozens of scouting methods just now, originating from the deepest depths of the demon abyss, could they be from that ancestor of the demon abyss? Lin Yuan thought inwardly. With his current insights into spacetime, he could naturally perceive the surveillance from other second-layer beings, and was even capable of counter-surveillance and locking on targets. I killed 6 Emperor of demonic beings, probably alarming the ancestor of the demon abyss. Lin Yuan thought nonchalantly, without the slightest apprehension. When he initially arrived in the immortal realm towards the ancestor of the demon abyss, towards the ancestor of the immortal path, Lin Yuan maintained utmost gravity, as they potentially posed a threat to suppress him. But now, the fact that the ancestor of the demon abyss used dozens of scouting methods without being able to locate Lin Yuan's true form said it all. To have the demons voluntarily retreat to the demon abyss? Quite cautious indeed. Lin Yuan saw through the 33 immortal domains with a glance and shook his head slightly. They wish to meet with me? Lin Yuan glanced outside the abode, as Yun Jinzi had already conveyed the message of the Immortal City Master and other Jade Immortals requesting an audience. Upon the throne inside the cave abode, Lin Yuan's form appeared out of thin air and he slowly sat down. The Kangwu Immortal City Master and other high-ranking dignitaries stood respectfully below. We are deeply grateful for your assistance, my lord. Without you, the myriad immortals of Kangwu Immortal City. The Kangwu Immortal City Master immediately said with respect. It was but a casual effort. Lin Yuan spoke calmly. Striking at those 6 Emperor of demonic beings was solely because they disturbed his seclusion. And the other demonic beings from various immortal domains that withdrew on their own volition. The Kangwu Immortal City Master cautiously probed. The retreat of all demonic beings had something to do with Lin Yuan, though it was merely speculation. That was the intention of the ancestor of the demon abyss, Lin Yuan said. This was the truth. While Lin Yuan's power could easily crush demonic beings, including the Emperor of demonic beings, he did not have the authority to command them. Only the ancestor of the demon abyss had the power to orchestrate such a unified retreat of all demonic beings back to the demon abyss. The intention of the ancestor of the demon abyss. The Immortal City Master swallowed hard. Although Lin Yuan did not explicitly say it, by referring to the ancestor of the demon abyss, his tone suggested a kind of parody. Right? Lin Yuan looked down at the petrified top-tier Jade Immortals and suddenly said, Do me the favor of spreading the word that from today onwards, all who practice martial Tao are under my lineage. The main reason Lin Yuan met with the Immortal City Master and others was precisely for this matter. For the evolutionary pathway of martial Tao to spread thoroughly across the 33 realms of the immortal realm, it is necessary to make the immortals aware of Lin Yuan's methods. Having the Kangwu Immortal City Master and other top-tier Jade Immortals disseminate this information is most efficient. At least within the Shentian Immortal Domain, the spread of the evolutionary pathway of martial Tao would encounter no obstacles. Having stepped into the 7th realm of spacetime, Lin Yuan had no more apprehensions in this immortal realm and naturally sought to spread the pathway of martial Tao. The 33 realms of the immortal realm are vast and boundless. Should martial Tao spread here, it shall greatly aid Lin Yuan in his ultimate ascent. Chapter 9:16 I am the ancestor of martial arts. Centuries ago, Lin Yuan had already arranged for the Taiyin primordial spirit to propagate the martial Tao in secret. Of course, this propagation was done clandestinely, with the Taiyin primordial spirit merely facilitating when opportune. However, under the overwhelming dominance of the immortal cultivation system, the propagation of the martial Tao evolutionary paths was actually unaffected. After all, with the ancestor of the immortal path leading the way, sentient beings with the means would definitely prioritize the immortal path. As for martial Tao, Lin Yuan hid in the shadows, and without enough high-level powerhouses to oversee the martial Tao cultivation system, despite its infinite potential, it was not the first choice. Merely relying on a few centuries of accumulation, the propagation of martial Tao is still too slow. Lin Yuan silently thought to himself. Being invincible oneself is not the same as spreading one's own cultivation system. Unless Lin Yuan could stay in the immortal realm permanently, keeping an eye on its development, the growth trend of martial Tao might be suppressed at any time once he leaves. In the boundless void, martial Tao was able to spread so rapidly entirely because of the tens of thousands of years of accumulation in Tianqing world. The immortal realm? The vastness of the immortal realm far exceeds that of the boundless void. Before Lin Yuan's arrival to the immortal realm, there wasn't even martial Tao. Wanting to develop martial Tao from scratch not only requires effort but also a considerable amount of time to settle. After all, not every cultivator is like Lin Yuan. Even if there are martial Tao talents who are exceptionally brilliant, it would still take generations before they could aspire to climb the peak of martial Tao. Actually, in the immortal realm, there isn't a complete lack of a martial Tao foundation. A thought suddenly struck in Lin Yuan's mind as he looked in a certain direction. That place was one of the 3,330 lower worlds beneath the immortal realm, which is where the spirit realm is located. Lin Yuan had finished his 8th traversal, essentially allowing martial Tao to take root and sprout in the spirit realm, leaving behind many contingencies to ensure the smooth development of martial Tao. The foundation of martial Tao in the spirit realm originated from the lower world of the central divine China world, where the Taoed immortal sect struck a deal with Lin Yuan, protecting the weak period of martial Tao. Thereafter, cultivators of the martial Tao from the central divine China world continuously ascended to the spirit realm through the Taoed immortal sect's ascension platform, joining the Taoed immortal sect's ranks. Until Lin Yuan's 8th traversal, when he descended into the spirit realm, the cultivators of martial Tao had already established an influence called martial temple, calculating based on the flow of time between the spirit realm and the main universe. From the end of Lin Yuan's 8th traversal till now, 1,000,000 years should have passed in the spirit realm. Now in the spirit realm, martial Tao seems to be developing quite well. Lin Yuan's gaze pierced through layers of space-time, and he briefly surveyed the spirit realm. In fact, even without relying on the 7th realm of spacetime to observe, Lin Yuan could feel the vigorous development of the martial Tao evolutionary path in the spirit realm. As the ancestor of martial arts, Lin Yuan could sense the flickering starlight of martial Tao cultivators, no matter how distant they might be. Currently, in the spirit realm, over 50% of the areas are covered by this flickering starlight. That is to say, in the spirit realm, the martial Tao cultivation system has grown into a colossal entity, even capable of suppressing the immortal cultivation system. It seems Li Qing and the others are doing well. Lin Yuan nodded slightly. Even though he had forcefully cultivated his disciple, Li Qing, to the 8th layer of martial Tao before the end of his 8th traversal. But the 8th layer of martial Tao is merely equivalent to the Transcendence Tribulation stage, and there is no shortage of practitioners at this level in the spirit realm. Even though Lin Yuan's lingering power still exists, over the long term, it still depends on Li Qing and the others to maintain control. If we can lead the martial Tao cultivators from the spirit realm up here, it could reduce the difficulty of spreading martial Tao in the immortal realm. Lin Yuan thought to himself. Any endeavor is most difficult when it starts from nothing. With Lin Yuan's Taiyin primordial spirit covertly facilitating for centuries, the cultivators of the martial Tao cultivation system totaled only in the hundreds of thousands, with the strongest among them merely at the 6th stage martial Tao. And in the spirit realm, after 1,000,000 years of development, there are more than 1,000 cultivators at the 8th layer of martial Tao, with countless more at the 7th and 6th stages of martial Tao. With my current understanding of space and time, it shouldn't be a problem. Lin Yuan carefully observed for a while and nodded subtly. In actuality, there is a way to travel from the spirit realm to the immortal realm. That is to ascend to the 9th layer of heaven in the spirit realm and then fly upwards from there. With some luck, one might enter the immortal realm. However, due to Lin Yuan's presence, the strongest life forms in the spirit realm became unprecedentedly powerful, and future generations, whether immortal or martial Tao cultivators, could only make it through the 8th layer and be absolutely crushed when facing the Lin Yuan presiding over the 9th layer. This meant that for 1,000,000 years, no being from the spirit realm has reached the immortal realm. Let's begin. Lin Yuan's heart stirred slightly, and he sent out a thread of spiritual will, breaking away from the immortal realm and continuously falling, eventually merging with the spirit realm. Ancestral masters could roam beyond the immortal realm, and both the spirit realms and the central divine continent's immortal cultivation systems originated from the ancestral master's teachings. Although Lin Yuan had not reached the level of an ancestral master, his insights into the 7th realm of spacetime allowed him to achieve a similar effect and even exceed the ancestral master in certain aspects. Spirit realm, 8th layer of heaven. Li Qing sat solemnly at the entrance to the 9th layer of heaven. Even 1,000,000 years later, I am still far inferior to my teacher from back then. Li Qing looked towards the entrance to the 9th layer of heaven. After 1,000,000 years, she had already reached the pinnacle of the 8th layer of martial Tao, perfecting many of the secret techniques left by Lin Yuan. Thus, Li Qing's power had become the strongest in the spirit realm, surpassing even the ancient transcendence tribulation beings from previous eras. But the greater her strength, the more Li Qing felt the gap between herself and her teacher. With her power levels, she was already capable of breaking through the 8th layer to the 9th. However, when facing the 9th layer, which bore the imprint of Lin Yuan, she was still completely overwhelmed. I wonder how teacher is doing now? How is life in the immortal realm? Li Qing couldn't help but feel nostalgic about Lin Yuan. She was a disciple that Lin Yuan took in when he was in the central divine China world, and her reverence for Lin Yuan was the deepest. Just as Li Qing's thoughts were spreading, fluctuations of spacetime spread like ripples, and a towering figure seemed to traverse boundless spacetime, arriving at the 8th layer of heaven. An instinctive awe surged in Li Qing's heart, and she stared blankly at the towering figure, her eyes involuntarily welling up with tears. Teacher, to actually still feel a rejection towards me. Lin Yuan's sliver of soul consciousness descended upon the spirit realm and faintly felt the fear of the entire world. But it was only fear. Even if it were just a sliver of soul consciousness, if Lin Yuan wished, he could easily destroy the entire spirit realm. He could, with his mastery over time-space alone, create a space-time storm unprecedented in the spirit realm. This would lead the entire world to enter its collapse, stepping into the final stage of destruction. In comparison, the current spirit realm appeared far too fragile to Lin Yuan's present self. Perhaps sensing the level of Lin Yuan, the spirit realm's instinctive consciousness could only feel fear. What's wrong? You don't recognize me anymore? Lin Yuan's gaze shifted, looking towards the trembling Li Qing. He smiled lightly and said, Teacher, have you really come back? Li Qing suddenly came to her senses. Just now she nearly thought she was dreaming. Since ancient times, as the spirit realm has gone through epochs, aside from that ancestral master of immortal realm at the birth of the world, there has never been a strong being who reached the 9th layer of heaven and then returned to the spirit realm. After a moment, Li Qing finally forced herself to accept the reality that the towering figure before her was indeed her teacher. You've worked hard these years, Lin Yuan said to Li Qing with slight approval. The development of martial Tao in the spirit realm to this state today must have required Li Qing to put in massive effort. Teacher, this descent of yours, are you planning to? Li Qing steadied her spirit and couldn't help asking. Having seen Lin Yuan again, Li Qing was extremely excited, and she asked the question, eager to serve her teacher once again. Nothing much. I plan to bring all of you to the immortal realm, Lin Yuan said with a faint smile. This was also the purpose of his return to the spirit realm, to utilize the many cultivators of martial Tao in the spirit realm to spread and develop martial Tao in the immortal realm. To the immortal realm? Us. Li Qing was somewhat dumbfounded. Since ancient times, it had never been heard that one could be brought to the immortal realm. In Li Qing's understanding, to go to the immortal realm, one must ascend to the 9th layer of heaven, which has always been the case since the birth of the spirit realm. All the ancient beings at the Transcendence Tribulation stage did so as well. And now Lin Yuan was saying he would take her up there? And them? It sounded like it wasn't just one person. You go down and get ready. Within the spirit realm, all cultivators of 6th stage martial Tao can enter the immortal realm, Lin Yuan said. The cultivation environment in the immortal realm far surpasses that of the spirit realm. Cultivators of martial Tao entering the immortal realm will have a higher ceiling. All 6th stage martial Tao? Li Qing was taken aback. The martial Tao in the spirit realm was flourishing. How many 6th stage cultivators were there? All of them could enter the immortal realm? In the depths of the demon abyss. The ancestor of the demon abyss ordered all demons to retreat back into the abyss and did not give up on monitoring the immortal realm. Due to the presence of Lin Yuan, the ancestor of the demon abyss had almost revived his entire consciousness. He was constantly observing the immortal realm, especially the slightest changes in the Shantian immortal domain. A fluctuation in the space-time passage? That being has opened a space-time passage between the immortal realm and the lower realm. The ancestor of the demon abyss felt a slight movement in his heart. He could not lock onto Lin Yuan's specific coordinates, but he was extremely sensitive to fluctuations in space-time. Such a stable space-time passage. The ancestor of the demon abyss was astonished. With his ancestral master-level strength, he could project his presence to the lower realm, and could even forcibly bring lives from the lower realm to the immortal realm. But to open a stable space-time passage like Lin Yuan, completely spanning the lower realm and the immortal realm, one needed to counteract the immortal realm's repairing force. The requirement for understanding of space-time was unimaginably high. Which lower realm's space-time passage is this exactly? The ancestor of the demon abyss observed carefully, beginning to investigate, as the invisible demon abyss power began to converge subtly. Suddenly, at this moment, the ancestor of the demon abyss's expression changed. Not far from him, the power of space-time coalesced, forming a young male figure. This young man effortlessly crossed the many barriers of the demon abyss, materializing an avatar here, smiling at the ancestor of the demon abyss. He spoke. Ancestor of the demon abyss? Who might you be? The ancestor of the demon abyss's expression was solemn, as if facing a great adversary, clearly aware that this young man's avatar was the being he had been observing. The young man said with a smile, I am the ancestor of martial arts. Chapter 917 Lin Yuan and the ancestor of the demon abyss. After Lin Yuan's comprehension of the space-time domain entered the 7th realm, as long as he was within the range of space-time he could sense, he could materialize an incarnation at any location. The 6th realm of space-time allowed Lin Yuan's thoughts to travel instantaneously. Here, instantaneously still requires time, albeit exceedingly brief. But the 7th realm of space-time allows Lin Yuan to descend synchronously. There is no doubt that this is much stronger than the 6th realm of space-time, which requires crossing an actual distance. There may be obstructions along the way, such as certain perilous space-time terrains that cannot be crossed by space-time travel. In contrast, the 7th realm of space-time is different. No matter how many perilous labyrinths separate the locations, as long as they are still within the range of space-time Lin Yuan can sense, he can descend directly. The range of space-time Lin Yuan can now sense is roughly equivalent to the size of dozens of immortal realms. The immortal realm is vast and boundless, equivalent to 1% of the main universe's territory. Dozens of immortal realms, that's already equivalent to a good part of the main universe. In other words, if he returns to the main universe, Lin Yuan can appear at any place within most of the territories of the main universe with just a thought. Even if using the two primordial spirits as reference points, sitting in key nodes of the main universe, he could appear instantaneously within all locations of the main universe. The only downside is that the one descending is merely an incarnation. But with Lin Yuan's current level of rule comprehension and strength of spirit and will, even if it's just an incarnation, the battle power exhibited can far surpass the Emperor of demonic beings. And when necessary, the true self, the original being, can descend using the incarnation as coordinates. Just now, Lin Yuan was guiding the numerous martial Tao cultivators of the spirit realm through the space-time passage, leading them to the immortal realm, when he perceived the master of the abyss's scrutiny. Therefore, he simply came to meet face-to-face with the ancestor of the demon abyss. Actually, even without the ancestor of the demon abyss's scrutiny, Lin Yuan also intended to meet this ruler of the demon abyss, an existence of the 12th layer. Ancestor of martial arts? The ancestor of the demon abyss looked solemn. He observed Lin Yuan carefully, realizing that the person before him seemed not to be in this space-time, but talking to him was merely an image, a projection. "I have never heard of you," the ancestor of the demon abyss said with a tone of confusion. Although he spent most of his time in slumber, given Lin Yuan's strength, he must have left traces in the distant past. But in reality, the ancestor of the demon abyss had never heard the name ancestor of martial arts. "It doesn't matter if you have not heard of it now, just remember it in the future," Lin Yuan said. Actually, for the past several centuries, under the promotion of the Taiyin primordial spirit, the martial Tao has also been spreading. But the noise was too faint, and most forces in the Shentian immortal domain hadn't even heard of it, let alone the exalted ancestor of the demon abyss. Hearing this, the ancestor of the demon abyss fell silent for a moment, then asked, "I wonder what the ancestor of martial arts is here for?" "Indeed, there are two matters." Lin Yuan nodded as he spoke. This was also the main purpose of his descent, to meet the ancestor of the demon abyss. "Please speak." The ancestor of the demon abyss looked at Lin Yuan. At his level, no one has ever dared to make demands of him. But the mastery of space-time revealed by Lin Yuan placed great pressure on the ancestor of the demon abyss. "Since I am the ancestor of martial arts, I naturally follow the path of the martial Tao and have trained a few disciples who will walk in the immortal realm in the future," Lin Yuan sighed. "I hope the ancestor of the demon abyss would not strike at my weak disciples, nor take the initiative to suppress and destroy the martial Tao cultivation system. For the martial Tao cultivation system to last in the immortal realm, besides the need for foundational dissemination, even more critical is the attitude of a 12th layer existence like the ancestor of the demon abyss. If the ancestor of the demon abyss despises the martial Tao cultivation system, even if one day it spreads throughout the 33 domains of the immortal realm, it would still be condemned to destruction. Naturally, this is under the premise that Lin Yuan does not intervene. Martial Tao cultivation system. The ancestor of the demon abyss had a deep gaze, pondering for a long time before saying, "I will not make a move." With his status and strength, even if Lin Yuan didn't say so, he wouldn't deign to strike at the weak. In the past, all the battles between immortals and demons were caused by the creatures the ancestor of the demon abyss casually created. As for the ancestor of the demon abyss himself, he had never taken action. "The other matter." Lin Yuan smiled slightly and continued, "I have heard that the origin of the immortal realm contains the realm's most fundamental rules manifest, so I plan to visit the origin of the immortal realm." As soon as these words came out, the ancestor of the demon abyss narrowed his eyes. "I don't understand the meaning of the ancestor of martial arts. The origin of the immortal realm is not the demon abyss." The ancestor of the demon abyss's message was clear. The origin of the immortal realm belongs to the ancestor of the immortal path. Lin Yuan should inquire with the ancestor of the immortal path. "Ha ha ha." Lin Yuan laughed and said, "All the immortals in the immortal realm, as well as the demonic beings from the demon abyss, believe that the ancestor of the immortal path and the ancestor of the demon abyss are opposed, and the wars between immortals and demons stem from that. But shouldn't the ancestor of the immortal path and the ancestor of the demon abyss share the same consciousness? Asking you would be no different from asking the ancestor of the immortal path, right?" Lin Yuan looked at the ancestor of the demon abyss. It must be said that there are significant differences between the ancestor of the demon abyss and the ancestor of the immortal path. Even among the 12-layer ultimates in the main universe, not everyone could discern that the two are essentially one. Lin Yuan was also only able to determine this after his comprehension of spacetime reached the 7th realm, through the subtle hints within the spacetime domain, and the spacetime structure of the immortal realm and the demon abyss, that the so-called immortal realm has, from the beginning to end, only one ultimate existence. As for the ancestor of the immortal path and the ancestor of the demon abyss, they are simply two sides of the same coin. You actually saw through it. The face of the ancestor of the demon abyss showed no expression. Now that Lin Yuan had made it so clear, there was no need for him to continue the pretense. Chapter 9:18. Luck, Lin Yuan said with a smile. In fact, even if he hadn't entered the 7th realm of spacetime, Lin Yuan was already suspicious of the ancestor of the demon abyss and the ancestor of the immortal path, these two ultimate beings. Unlike the beings of the immortal realm, Lin Yuan came from the main universe where many supremes resided. He knew how incredibly difficult it was to give birth to a 12th-layer life. Yet, in the immortal realm there were two 12th-layer ultimate existences. If it was just that, Lin Yuan wouldn't give it much thought, as the immortal realm was more than capable of accommodating two 12th-layer supremes. But these two 12th-layer beings treaded completely opposite paths. It wasn't just that they were completely opposite, but their followers, the immortals and the demons, had a sort of complementary meaning to each other. All demons eagerly devour the flesh and blood of immortals, yet immortals could also consume demonic qi. But due to the highly corrosive nature of demonic qi, when immortals consume demons, they could easily be demonized. However, the fact that immortals and demons can complement each other is already enough to trigger many associations in Lin Yuan's mind. Demons originate from the ancestor of the demon abyss, while the immortals walk the cultivation path handed down by the ancestor of the immortal path. The fact that demons and immortals can complement each other implies that the ancestor of the demon abyss and the ancestor of the immortal path have a complementary relationship too. Are 12th-layer beings unique to their respective evolutionary paths? Complementary? There's only one possibility, that these two 12th-layer beings have a profound connection, or they might even be the same person. If you want to enter the primordial lands, you have to agree to one of my conditions, said the ancestor of the demon abyss, looking at Lin Yuan. What condition? A smile appeared on Lin Yuan's face. If not absolutely necessary, Lin Yuan would rather not fall out with the ancestor of the demon abyss. After all, Lin Yuan's stay in this world was limited. Unless he could eliminate the ancestor of the demon abyss once and for all, he'd rather opt for a peaceful coexistence if possible. I can sense that you haven't entered the Dao ancestor realm, the ancestor of the demon abyss said. Not a Dao ancestor, yet possessing such insight into space and time, therefore I wish to spar with you. Spa! Lin Yuan nodded. No problem. The ancestor of the demon abyss probably wanted to spar with him to figure out exactly what form Lin Yuan existed in. Just by feeling and observing, the ancestor of the demon abyss couldn't pinpoint Lin Yuan's exact location, but to directly make a move would probably mean a complete fallout with Lin Yuan. So he wanted to use sparring as a form of probing. Lin Yuan was pretty eager for that as well. Up to now, he hadn't had the chance to cross hands with a 12th-layer ultimate being. In a super large-scale battlefield, Lin Yuan swept through his foes, but those he faced were 11th-layer powerhouses armed with 12th-layer weapons. As for 12th-layer powerhouses themselves, he had only had a momentary contact with the myriad transformation queen of the insect race, but was immediately isolated by the Shenyuan Supreme. Where do you plan on sparring? Asked the ancestor of the demon abyss. Since this was the territory of the ancestor of the demon abyss, in the demon abyss his strength would be greatly enhanced, hence the question. If it's a sparring match, it means they aren't enemies, and it should be as fair as possible. If it were an enemy, naturally the ancestor of the demon abyss would not give up any advantage, nor show any signs of concession. Right here, Lin Yuan said after glancing around. Are you sure? Asked the ancestor of the demon abyss. To spar in his own territory, does this ancestor of martial arts have such confidence? Sure, Lin Yuan said with a smile. The ancestor of the Demon Abyss might be a 12th layer ultimate, but he had no idea about the height of the 7th realm of time-space. It was also normal. While the immortal realm just barely kept up with the main universe, beyond the main universe was the Chaos Void, where many 12th layer sovereigns and even 12th layer Chaos Realm powerhouses existed. Their understanding of realms far surpassed that of the ancestor of the Demon Abyss. If it were a 12th layer path splitting realm powerhouse from the Chaos Void, upon discovering that Lin Yuan's comprehension of time-space reached the 7th realm, they wouldn't entertain the notion of sparring at all. In the center of the Demon Abyss, in an immense open space, Lin Yuan and the ancestor of the Demon Abyss stood opposite each other from a distance. You make the first move. As long as you can land an attack on me, you win. Lin Yuan looked at the ancestor of the Demon Abyss with a smile. The ancestor of the Demon Abyss's form shrank to around 10 meters, emanating a pitch-black and profound aura, constantly devouring the demonic chi from all directions like a black hole. Does the ancestor of martial arts truly believe that I can't touch him at all? The ancestor of the Demon Abyss gazed at Lin Yuan and thought to himself. Yes. He indeed could not pinpoint Lin Yuan's exact spatial coordinates. But being unable to lock onto the exact coordinates did not mean he couldn't attack. It was like a complex ant colony. People outside indeed couldn't lock onto the position of a single ant inside. They have no idea where that ant is within the ant nest. But to deal with this ant, one need not necessarily find out its location. One only needs to completely destroy the nest, and naturally the ant within will surely die. The ancestor of the Demon Abyss harbored such thoughts, and since he couldn't locate Lin Yuan, he might as well destroy all the space-time that he could sense. Be careful, Your Excellency. The ancestor of the Demon Abyss raised his hand. The demonic chi surged overwhelmingly, and instantly, a vast expanse of space-time collapsed. As an existence of the 12th layer, every single action of the ancestor of the Demon Abyss could affect the surrounding space-time. Like a fish in water, any flick of its tail could stir up ripples. Whoosh! The terrifying space-time vibrations dispersed in all directions in an instant. Lin Yuan, as the target of the vibrations, was also engulfed, covered entirely by the endless demonic chi. Lin Yuan stood still, as all the demonic chi passed through him as if it went through a void, immediately surging towards the back. After the demonic chi swept over, Lin Yuan was still standing there. If not for the vibrating space-time around him, it was as if nothing had happened. It didn't have any effect at all? The ancestor of the Demon Abyss felt pressured. The blow he had just struck was only a probe, but it was specifically targeted at the breadth of the space-time dimensions. In the view of the ancestor of the Demon Abyss, even if he couldn't inconvenience Lin Yuan, at the very least, it should have had some slight impact, such as lifting a corner of Lin Yuan's robes. But now it seems that blow he struck was probably immensely far from Lin Yuan's true position. That move wasn't too shabby. Lin Yuan nodded and commented. Directly facing an attack from a 12th layer ultimate being, even for Lin Yuan, was a rare experience. The 7th realm of spacetime kept Lin Yuan in an absolutely safe state, which allowed him to observe the ancestor of the Demon Abyss's earlier move more carefully. Not too shabby? The ancestor of the Demon Abyss took a deep breath, and immediately the entire Demon Abyss began to contract. Then take a look at this move. Boom! In all directions. Down, left, and right. Countless layers of spacetime seemed to solidify. Lin Yuan appeared as if he were an insect trapped in amber, followed by a series of fine cracks at the edge of spacetime. The cracks rapidly spread, expanded, and split, in an instant enveloping everything before them. The next moment, the surrounding spacetime shattered like broken glass, and vast swathes of dark spacetime rifts emerged, a scene from outside the immortal realm. With this strike, the ancestor of the Demon Abyss had torn through all the spatial layers of the immortal realm, creating a huge breach that connected to the world beyond the immortal realm. The ancestor of the Demon Abyss looked again towards Lin Yuan's previous location, only to find Lin Yuan still standing there, unaffected by the destructive aura of the shattered spacetime around him. This scene deeply startled the ancestor of the Demon Abyss. I have completely penetrated the spacetime of the immortal realm, yet still no impact on the ancestor of martial arts? The ancestor of the demon abyss confirmed one thing immediately. The space-time where the ancestor of martial arts resides seems to have transcended the immortal realm, and even the destruction of the immortal realm cannot restrain him. This move of the ancestor of the demon abyss, while much stronger than the previous one, Lin Yuan promptly spoke up with praise. "You're getting closer to me now. Would the ancestor of the demon abyss care to keep trying?" In fact, this move of the ancestor of the demon abyss was still a long distance away from Lin Yuan's specific spatiotemporal location, but it's always good to encourage the ancestor of the demon abyss. "There's no need. Indeed, I cannot touch the ancestor of martial arts." The ancestor of the demon abyss fell silent for a moment before immediately speaking out. Chapter 919. Resurrection. "No more sparring?" Lin Yuan asked. "There's no need to continue sparring," the ancestor of the demon abyss replied. In fact, the ancestor of the demon abyss had stronger trump cards and killing moves that he had not yet used. Even the ancestor of the immortal path in the origin of the immortal realm had not yet made a move. But through these two probing attacks, the ancestor of the demon abyss had confirmed that he could not only fail to lock onto Lin Yuan's location in spacetime. Even the attacks he launched were unable to touch or affect Lin Yuan. Therefore, continuing to spar was meaningless. It was completely one-sided output from the ancestor of the demon abyss. "Then may I enter the origin of the immortal realm to have a look?" Lin Yuan continued to ask. "Of course you may." The corners of the ancestor of the demon abyss's mouth twitched slightly. Based on the outcome of his sparring with Lin Yuan, even if he disagreed, it would be of no use. Lin Yuan could enter the origin regardless of his permission. Lin Yuan's arrival to the demon abyss and his encounter with the ancestor of the demon abyss, who couldn't do anything to him, was all done without a sound. Similarly, he could enter the origin of the immortal realm just as quietly, and even before the ancestor of the immortal path, he would be helpless. "Then, thank you very much." Lin Yuan nodded. Although he could directly enter the origin of the immortal realm, it was always proper to greet the host. "I will take my leave now. If there's anything, just contact me directly." After Lin Yuan spoke, his figure directly dissipated, for it was merely an avatar he had sent here. When the will of his mind dissipated, the avatar naturally vanished. Ancestor of martial arts. After Lin Yuan left, the ancestor of the demon abyss stood for a long time before he sighed and disappeared as well. The sparring between the ancestor of the demon abyss and Lin Yuan caused a profound impact in the demon abyss, leaving countless demonic beings and their emperors in fear and unrest. Since their creation, they had never felt the Father God exert such force, stirring up spatial-temporal fluctuations that affected the entire demon abyss. Shantian Immortal Domain. Lin Yuan sat cross-legged. 12th layer strength. Lin Yuan carefully sensed the two strikes unleashed by the ancestor of the demon abyss just now. Although in terms of space-time, Lin Yuan was superior to the ancestor of the demon abyss, making him innately invincible, it was still just invincibility. If he were to resist head-on, not to mention it was just an avatar, even his true form, the true form from the main universe, would not be able to withstand it. There's still a considerable gap between me and the direct combat power of the 12th layer. Lin Yuan evaluated himself and concluded. He was only able to survive before the ultimate fighters of the 12th layer, not meaning he could contend against the ultimate 12th layer. But compared to those 12th layer powerhouses in the main universe, could the ancestor of the demon abyss be considered somewhat weaker? Lin Yuan thought to himself. Even within the 12th layer, there are differences in strength. It's not just about the three big stages: path-splitting, domination, and chaos. Even within the path-splitting realm alone, there is a large gap, and those at the peak of the path-splitting 12th layer can safely endure the tribulations of the universe's destruction. The ordinary path-splitting 12th layer beings, when facing the tribulations of the universe's destruction, would have to accept a great demise. It is understandable for the ancestor of the demon abyss to be weaker than the 12th layer powerhouses of the main universe. After all, those 12th layer powerhouses from the main universe occasionally spar with each other, competing, and might even receive higher teachings from outside the universe. But the ancestor of the demon abyss? Being two sides of the same coin with the ancestor of the immortal path, before Lin Yuan descended into the immortal realm, had already been invincible for countless years, losing the drive that comes with having enemies and naturally halting in strength advancement. However, even the weakest of the 12th layer is still ultimate, and Lin Yuan, who has realized the 7th realm of spacetime, could only survive before them. The spacetime passage is completely formed now. Lin Yuan's gaze shifted, looking at the spacetime passage in front of him. This was a passage forcibly established between the immortal realm and the spirit realm based on Lin Yuan's insight into the 7th realm of spacetime, condensing spacetime. Such a feat could only be achieved by Lin Yuan. Even the ancestor of the immortal path and the ancestor of the demon abyss could at most bring a few lives into the immortal realm. As for creating a stable spacetime passage, almost impossible. Before long, faint figures began to appear within the spacetime passage before Lin Yuan. Is this the immortal realm? Li Qing stepped through the lengthy spacetime passage, and upon entering the immortal realm, she was immersed in the rich immortal qi and the extremely complete Tao rules. For a moment, she was lost in astonishment. In her life, Li Qing, actually had a day where she entered the immortal realm. Ancestor of martial arts. Greetings to the ancestor of martial arts. Greetings to the ancestor of martial arts. Behind Li Qing, Shanyang, Nieyun, and the rest of the 8th layer martial Tao practitioners steadied their spirits. Upon seeing Lin Yuan, who stood not far away with his hands behind his back, they immediately bowed down fervently. As the ancestor of martial arts returned to the spirit realm and opened a passage to the immortal realm, this news had already spread throughout the 3,000 Tao regions of the spirit realm, driving countless cultivators mad with excitement. Leaving aside the prospect of entering the legendary immortal realm, just the mere sight of the ancestor of martial arts, the progenitor originator of martial Tao, was enough to make all cultivators willing to die for the opportunity. Stand up. First, get accustomed to the environment of the immortal realm. Lin Yuan nodded slightly, initiating the 8th traverse. Martial Tao was waning in the spirit realm, supported only by Li Qing, Shanyang, and Nieyun, the 3 7th-stage martial Tao practitioners. When Lin Yuan first met Shanyang, the latter had planned to take Lin Yuan to visit the 9 heavens. Yes, venerated martial ancestor rank. Li Qing, Shanyang, Nieyun, and other cultivators of the 8th layer of martial Tao nodded in extreme excitement. Lin Yuan looked toward the rear, and as Li Qing and the other 2 8th layer martial Tao practitioners completed their journey through the spacetime passage, more and more cultivators of martial Tao's 8th layer entered the immortal realm. Among them were Jun Haiqiu, Jun Nangong, and Jun Yunxuan from the Jun family. In the central divine China world, after Lin Yuan's transmigration, he took the identity of Wuji, a 3rd-generation immortal of the morality immortal sect from the Jun family, and at that time the influence of the Jun family in the morality immortal sect was not insignificant. Spirit realm. Lin Yuan's conjured avatar began to break free from the world's shackles and arrived outside of the world. Central divine continent. Lin Yuan looked down, the Ling family possessing 1,000,000 subordinate worlds, of which the central divine continent world was one. The distance between the spirit realm and the central divine continent was not far, and the refined void period powerhouses from the central divine continent could ascend to the spirit realm through the ascension platform. This incarnation of Lin Yuan continued to descend and finally merged with the central divine continent. Back again. As Lin Yuan observed his surroundings, he immediately felt an extreme narrowness, as if the entire central divine continent couldn't contain his colossal presence. Whoosh! To integrate as seamlessly as possible with the central divine continent, Lin Yuan's wisp of mental will directly inhabited the body that once belonged to Wuji, which he had specifically reserved. This world. Lin Yuan looked around, the minute details of the central divine continent world falling into his view. The current central divine continent world had become thoroughly dominated by martial Tao. Perhaps it was the influence of his 8th traversal to the spirit realm. The martial Tao cultivators had become the absolute mainstream in the central divine continent world. The river of time. Lin Yuan's gaze deepened as he looked towards the central divine continent world's river of time. Lin Yuan had descended to the central divine continent world specifically with the intention of resurrecting people such as Jun Dongjin and Mu Liener. Although people like Jun Dongjin had ascended to the spirit realm, they were born in the Central Divine Continent world and their life brands were also in the Central Divine Continent world, so to be resurrected, they had to return to the Central Divine Continent world. Resurrect. Lin Yuan's form became ethereal. He flowed upstream, starting to lock onto the essences of lives that had perished in the past. Resurrection techniques belonged to the capabilities of 12th-tier powerhouses, but fundamentally, it was just a mastery of space and time. Grasping the entire rule of time at the 11th tier, one could also flow upstream and theoretically scoop up fleeting lives from the past, but one would be unable to withstand the backlash from the river of time. Today, Lin Yuan's life essence was unprecedentedly strong. Resurrecting some 7th-tier beings was all too simple, not to mention the pittance of a backlash from the river of time. Rustle, rustle. The river of time rippled. One after another, gray life brands were scooped up and then brought to the current spacetime. I thought I was dead? Jun Dongjin, Mu Liener, Jun Xiaoyao, Jun Zhilan, and others blinked, finding it rather unbelievable, their memories all halting at the final moment of death. Now that they were resurrected, it was as if they had just awoken from sleep. I feel that my lifespan has become immeasurably extended. I could live for at least 1 million or 10 million years. Jun Dongjin took a deep breath. He remembered that he didn't have much lifespan left, so how come his lifespan has now surged by 100-fold? Me too. Jun Xiaoyao and Jun Zhilan looked at each other. Is this Central Divine Continent? I remember I had already entered the spirit realm through the ascension platform. Wuji! Mu Liener suddenly called out excitedly. The family turned their heads and saw Lin Yuan quietly observing, his aura as constrained as possible. Otherwise people like Jun Dongjin wouldn't even have the qualification to look at him directly. Don't panic. You have been resurrected by me. Lin Yuan explained with a smile. Next, I will take you to the immortal realm. Resurrecting Jun Dongjin and his family was an effortless matter for Lin Yuan. After all, it was no trouble for him, and it required no price to be paid. Besides Jun Dongjin's family, Lin Yuan resurrected many others, such as the parents of his 8th traversal spirit realm fleshly form and so on. Given the strength of Lin Yuan's life essence, even resurrecting 11th tier lives was well within his capability, and reviving many more ordinary lives was just a matter of thought. After resurrection, Lin Yuan slightly infused each resurrected being with some origin source, greatly prolonging their lifespans. Otherwise, lives that died due to the limit of their lifespan, even if pieced back together, would still have to face the issue of lifespan limitation. We've been resurrected? The hearts of Jun Dongjin's family were shaken. They had been to the spirit realm and knew that even for a tribulation stage celestial king, death was final, and the notion of resurrection didn't exist. And yet, Wuji could effortlessly resurrect them? And it wasn't a mere resurrection, their life essence, the length of their lifespan, had all been significantly elevated. Immortal realm? Jun Xiaoyao was momentarily stunned. Could they really proceed to the immortal realm? Resurrecting long-gone relatives and friends was a task for a negligibly minor incarnation split by Lin Yuan. As for his true body, it remained in closed-door cultivation, comprehending the Tao. Lin Yuan's consciousness immersed in the depths of his mind, gazing towards the towering and grandiose Myriad Realms Gate. Now with the attainment of the 7th realm in spacetime comprehension, this was Lin Yuan's first examination of the Myriad Realms Gate. What is this? Lin Yuan's expression shifted slightly. At this moment, with his spacetime insight reaching the 7th realm, he immediately noticed changes in the Myriad Realms Gate. Chapter 920. The Source World. The Myriad Realms Gate stands lofty and majestic at the deepest part of Lin Yuan's mind, as if it has remained unchanged through the ages, eternal and everlasting. Even though it is merely a projection of the true Myriad Realms Gate, it still gives Lin Yuan the illusion of surpassing the 12th layer, even for the likes of Shen Huang and the Moyu Tower Master. In front of this projection, they seem like mere dust. This is not a comparison of physical sizes, but rather from a deeper, more fundamental level. Lin Yuan previously guessed that the Myriad Realms Gate is an object at the level of perfect time beings, based on this scene. Now, Lin Yuan's expression is solemn as he observes the myriad realms gate closely. After his understanding of spacetime entered the seventh realm, Lin Yuan's perception of spacetime has completely changed from before. Now, the myriad realms gate also feels different to Lin Yuan. In fact, it's not the myriad realms gate that has changed. It has always been there and never changed. It's just that Lin Yuan's realm has improved, allowing him to see more of the myriad realms gate's fundamental information, making him feel as if the gate itself has changed. New world coordinates have appeared? Lin Yuan thought to himself as dozens of world coordinates faintly emerged deep within the myriad realms gate. To be precise, there are 33 world coordinates. These 33 world coordinates, as if they had been engraved in the myriad realms gate long ago, are only now perceived by Lin Yuan. 33 worlds? Lin Yuan observed carefully and soon received information about these 33 worlds. These 33 worlds, are they all source worlds? 33 source worlds. Lin Yuan looks pensive. The information about these 33 source worlds is scant, likely because his realm is still insufficient to perceive more information. Source worlds. What level of worlds are those? Lin Yuan is quite curious. The world coordinates that are imprinted in the deepest parts of the myriad realms gate are obviously not simple. At least neither the main universe nor the chaos void has the capability to imprint their own coordinates there. However, this is good news for me. A smile appears on Lin Yuan's face. At his current level, just one step away from the 12th layer, his options for worlds to traverse and descend upon are very few. In the heavens and myriad realms, among the endless dimensional planes, countless worlds exist, but the absolute majority are lower and middle-level worlds. High-level worlds like the immortal realm and the main universe are extremely rare. If he traverses through the myriad realms gate and descends into a lower-level world, Lin Yuan would feel very uncomfortable. The restrictions of a lower-level world are significant, and Lin Yuan might not even be able to grow to the level of condensing physical body divine abilities. Moreover, since physical body divine abilities originate from bloodlines, the bloodlines of a lower-level world, even if they could condense physical body divine abilities, would probably not compare to top-tier ones such as Tier Heaven or World. This is also the reason why Lin Yuan has not undertaken a large number of blind random traversals. 100 or 1,000 random traversals might not benefit Lin Yuan as much as one high-quality traversal. Therefore, after the 11th traversal was completed, to embark on the next traversal, Lin Yuan had to opt for a customized traversal. But customized traversals consume too much world-breaking origin force, starting at 100 strands. Along with Lin Yuan's increasing demands in customization, the consumption of world-breaking origin force would skyrocket, and eventually, customizing a world that satisfies Lin Yuan might cost 1,000 or several thousand strands of world-breaking origin force. These 33 source worlds? At least in terms of level, they would not be lower than the main universe. Lin Yuan traversing and descending among them would certainly not face any suppression. The operation of rules differs between different world dimensions. Staying in one world dimension for a long time, one would only sense that dimension's operation of rules. The operation of rules in worlds of the same level but different dimensions is markedly different. Prolonged contemplation undeniably aids in cultivation. This is also why those close to perfect time beings explore other dimensional spaces. Not only to discover the unknown but also to experience. Hello everyone, this is Shadow. Due to copyright restrictions on YouTube, I can't publish many of the audiobooks you love. That's why I've created a special paid service where you can enjoy over 300 high-quality audiobooks from platforms like Webnovel, Pocket FM, Audible, Wuxia, and more. Each novel comes as a one-time purchase, no subscriptions, no hidden fees. After payment, you'll receive full access via Telegram, along with all future updates for that novel. You'll find a wide selection of your favorite genres and titles, always in premium audio quality. Check the full list of available novels in the description. DM me now to get your favorite stories in audiobook form and start listening today.